Hey folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is The Adventures of Tintin, The Black Island by, I'm not sure which one of the two is the publisher, so I'll leave it here on screen. And this is book 7 in this collection. Here's the collection here. Alright, now there is violence, shooting, giant gorilla, attempted murder, suggestion of taking someone to a insane asylum, and dumbass detectives. And booze in this one. So if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright. Please find the man's name. Who, oh yeah, this would be different. I'll leave the creator of Tintin, his name here up on screen. I don't remember what his name is, and I don't know what to look for. It's inside this book. Alright, with that, right, that was everything. Yeah, with that, let's begin. Now, I haven't, no, not that I haven't. As I mentioned in my haul video, the first time I've ever I ever came across Tintin was when I saw the 3D movie that came out apparently in 2011. My bad. Maybe some of you know it, that 3D one. That was my first introduction to Tintin. And I'm pretty certain I saw it on TV. I think. Yeah, I think it was on TV. Up until that moment, I didn't really know much about Tintin, even after watching the movie. I didn't know who Tintin was. For me, it was just an adventure movie. It was pretty cool from what I remember. Interesting as well. Obviously, a lot in there that I didn't really understand, because I've never read Tintin. And that's it. I haven't thought about him for years later. And then my friend Leor showed me that he has some comics of his, and so I got it from him. And so I've now read Tintin. Now I actually went to Wikipedia to check what Tintin's even supposed to be. So he's supposed to be a reporter, and he was created by this French gentleman, whose name I can't remember. It also looks like the Tintin had a TV show, a live action TV show, but way back, I think. The creator was born quite a long time ago as well. Yeah, I'll leave it here when he was born and all other information. But yeah, so let's get to the story. So we start with Tintin going on a walk with Snowy. That's his little terrier here, the white doggy. And they see a plane in the sky that crashes. So Tintin goes with Snowy to see if the pilots need any help. The pilot and who's with him see Tintin as he's approaching, asking if everything's fine, and then they shoot him and fly off. And Tintin wakes up in the hospital. He's been lucky. The bullet only grazed his rib. He should be able to come out of the hospital in a few days. Which I thought you might need more than that to rest after you had a bullet through you, but I'm not a medical professional. And then the two detectives, Thompson and Thompson. The other one of them has a P in his name. It's different in French. This is, I forgot to mention, this is the English translation. Tintin is originally in French. They're supposed to be absurd in the comic relief. Those two, they're not related. They're not twins or anything. They're just two detectives who look exactly the same, except the slight difference in surnames. You wouldn't be able. Well, and one of them always says, well, as I says to be precise, and then what he says afterwards doesn't exactly make sense to me. But yes. So they come to the hospital. Tintin tells them what happened, and they go off to look for. Sorry. They go to investigate something else. They get a phone call. Tintin gets out of the bed and like, I have to go, doctor. I must investigate this. The doctor's so shocked you're leaving, and Tintin's like, oh, I'm fine. I just had a bullet through me, but I'm fine. I mean, that is one resilient little fellow, I'll tell you that. So Tintin is supposed to be a reporter, but at least in this one, you don't really see him do much reporting. He never writes any of this stuff down. You don't see him contact his work or anything. It's much more accurate to say maybe he's more of an independent investigator. So from there, we start the whole adventure of Tintin following the clues. There's his old enemies. There's this one doctor. I'll leave his name up here. He's one of the bad guys. They see that Tintin is following their trail, so they're trying to get rid of him. They first frame him for knocking someone out and stealing that person's wallet. That person's one of the bad guys. So then the two doofus detectives, they arrest Tintin and stall him in his investigation. And so it continues. Tintin goes all around England. He needs to get to this place. What was it called? Anyway, he needs to get to this place first to look for more clues. We go all around. They try to constantly kill him. At one point, this evil doctor guy, Tintin follows the trail and gets to his house. They capture him. And he's talking on the phone as Tintin's there in his study. It's quite sinister because he's talking. He has his own private mental institution or the asylum. They give it a nicer name. And he's telling Tintin, we'll send you in. You're quite normal, but in 8 hours you won't be. I actually wanted to find out what they were going to do, but they don't go into detail. And of course, Tintin escapes. But yeah, it's all quite sinister. Tintin manages to escape, but then the idiot doctor, as they're fighting downstairs in the living room, he throws a burning log at him and starts a fire in the house. Tintin locks himself up in one of the rooms upstairs, and because the doctor shot holes through the door, it hits some chloroform that was in the cabinet, and it knocks Tintin out. The fire starts. The doctor and also his doofus assistant, Ivan, they run out of the house. Some people in the village, they see the fire. They call the fire department. They get there. They start putting out the fire. But the two bad guys obviously want Tintin to die, so they try to stop them. They cut the hose. But good thing Tintin has Snowy. What do you do without him? Snowy drags one of the firefighters until he goes to the room where Tintin is and gets him out of there. We are with Tintin in the hospital again. Having probably breathed in some fumes. Not fumes, some smoke. They Oh yeah, the firefighter talks to him. You know, they tell him the doctor and Ivan have escaped, and their car was nearby. Tintin again leaves the hospital. So I mean that guy is more. I don't know. He needs to be next Wolverine, really. I mean, just brushed it off like, I'm fine. Gets out. And goes back to the house with Snowy, and that's where he discovers a piece of information he found out earlier. So the whole main plot is this doctor, Ivan, and some other of the people there that are in this gang. They're forging money. So Tintin discovers that they get shipments of money from a plane. That's why they needed planes. So they drop a shipment off, and Tintin is there. He manages to capture the doctor and Ivan at first, but they manage to escape with a bag of money, so he keeps following them. And we reach, towards the end, we get to the Black Island over there. It's in, what area is it in? Anyway, he gets to, he meets along the way before he gets to the island. Before he gets to the town where the island is near, we meet our two doofus detectives again. They want to arrest Tintin. They prevent him again from capturing Ivan and the doctor. And he, obviously they waste his time. He tells them, look, just follow me there. I'll prove it to you. I've been framed. So they all go, and they manage to see Ivan and the doctor just escape on a plane, which blows the two detectives' hats away, so they go after their hats. Meanwhile, Tintin found another plane with a pilot, and they go after Ivan and the Ivan and the doctor. Now, these two doofuses, they find there's one last plane left. It's this club for planes, for flying, I mean. They find a poor mechanic who, before he has a chance to tell him that he doesn't know how to fly a plane, they still force him to fly it. Obviously, that does not go well for them. Anyway, Tintin and that pilot, they follow the other plane, but then it gets very cloudy. They try to land, but they crash. They're both alive. Again, Tintin either has some insane luck or, I don't know, Wolverine's body. They survive, they're fine. A nice old man finds them and lets them stay in his house. Yeah, in his house. He gives Tintin this outfit. It's, it's near, it's in Scotland, I think. It was based on as he's wearing a kilt. Tintin, the pilot, Snowy stay with the man, and then the next morning, they hear some news. They need to go to. Tintin decides to go to this town. That's where he thinks he'll find the doctor and everyone. So he goes there by foot. There's a really funny thing with Snowy that he drinks whiskey. Along the way, so the part where they're on the train to go after the bad guys, they sit outside of it though, and there's a whole big container of whiskey and drops are falling out and Snowy's drinking it. And Tintin gets so angry at him. I know the captain, he was in the movies, he's not in this story though. He also drinks. I didn't know Snowy, well, obviously in the movie Snowy didn't drink. Or maybe he did. I don't remember him drinking any whiskey. But, yes, anyway. Where was I? Tintin gets to the other town by foot. And he talks to the locals. And he finds out that this island is cursed. That many young men have went near it and disappeared. Never to be heard of again. So Tintin tries to get a boat to go there. Obviously, no one wants to take him there, because they're all afraid to go. He finds one guy to hire his boat from him, but he ends up having to buy it just to go, because the guy's like, "But you disappeared. I'll never get my boat back." Yeah, he never got his boat back. He was right about that. So Tintin and Snowy go to the island. I also wonder where Tintin gets the funding for all these trips and stuff. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's working for any publisher, or he doesn't do any jobs, so where he gets the money for all this. But, yeah, never mind, I suppose. Maybe they tell you in one of the other comics. They get to the island, they get off near these cliffs over there, and they start to investigate. They go up into the castle, and that's where they meet our giant gorilla. And I mean a giant gorilla that tries to kill them, but they manage to escape. The gorilla his name is Ranku. Yeah, that was his name. I'll check later when I'm looking at the art. But yeah, Ranku. And for some reason, he's scared of Snowy's barking. That's how they kind of escape. They run back. They're in a tower. They run back down. The door is locked. But because Ranku throws a stone, he makes a hole for them to escape through. Both Snowy's captured. Tintin doesn't notice. But because Snowy barks, Ranku gets scared and drops him. They reach the boat, but the boat is now gone. So and they're like, "What do we do now?" Then Ranku appears. They keep running. And Snowy finds a little hole in the rocks. They get through there. And that's when we see another bad guy. I think he's the boss of this whole thing. Ranku, he controls Ranku. He trained him. And that's actually what's been happening to all those men who disappeared. They all went to the island, and they were all killed by Ranku, and obviously their boats were destroyed. Or taken somewhere. So that's why they never came back. That's where the base of the operation is, so they had to keep it secret. So now, the problem is there's a tide where Tintin is, in that little cave he went into. He tries to get out, but the bad guy starts shooting at him. Luckily, Snowy finds another passage in the cave. They get out, he comes across two henchmen, he manages to overpower them. Then the doctor and Ivan run in, he overpowers them as well. And he goes outside, he sees the boss man. And Ranku, he manages to also overpower him. He ties them all up, throws him in Ranku's cage. Ranku, in the meantime, ran away somewhere, he got scared. And then he and Snowy continue to investigate. They go into, I guess, the boss man's study that's in that island. And we see on the little TV device, we see what happened to the two doofus detectives. So there's this a competition for planes, how they're flying. And Tintin actually stands there for a bit and watches it. And then we see their plane. The poor mechanic, because he doesn't know how to land, and so he flips the plane a lot. And the judges, they all think this is part of the show. And not the anchor, the commentator or the announcer. He says, "Oh, look at these moves, and look at this, and oh, what a stunt." But it's not a stunt, it's real. One of the detectives falls out of the plane, but they manage to catch him and get him back in. Then they finally crash. Finally, And the commentator is like, the judges are unanimous. You two won. Poor mechanic fell nearby. Well, at least they landed. It's like, okay, I gotta focus. It doesn't really acknowledge it's the detectives, but maybe you can't see that well. It is, how TV was back then. Tintin finds a transmission device in there, and he contacts the police, tells them, where he is, about the gang and everything. And they tell him, all right, just stay where you are. We're going to send policemen and a boat to help you secure all the bad guys. Tintin goes out to investigate some more, but then he notices that all the bad guys have escaped. They all untied themselves. He's like, shit. Well, they all gather weapons. They're preparing to attack Tintin. They go out and they find him. Alright, he first sees that the boss is not in the cell that he left him in. So obviously the logical conclusion is he went and released the other ones. And they go and they meet him. They see Tintin, they start running after him. He goes back to the tower where he was at. Trying to shoot at them. He only has one gun. And they shoot up. They tried going up after him, but he has some heavy bricks, and he throws one, and they all fall, quite painfully. Then Renku appears, and they send Renku up there, because he won't be deterred by stones. Renku gets up there, but Snowy scares him again, and Renku trips over one of the stones and falls back down. Ah, that poor monkey. Sorry, gorilla. Well, luckily the police arrive. They help Tintin. They capture all the bad guys. Tintin also falls down when they tell him it's okay, you can come down, and he falls on the two detectives. And he and the detectives and Snowy go to have another look inside the castle, and then there they find the planes, and where from where they took off as well. So they solve this mystery. They meet the Renku. Tintin's like, we're friends now. Poor Renku broke his arm when he fell down. So the Tintin and all of them leave the island. Meanwhile, in the town, there's a lot of reporters. We're like, oh, Tintin's coming. So they all run to interview him. Tintin, how did you do it again? Tintin's like, well, Renku climbs up behind him, and they all escape. And they all run away, all the reporters. He's like, something I said? Oh, that was funny. Well, then in the conclusion, we see a newspaper, a picture, where they talk about the forgers, Renku, Tintin, and everything. And on the last page, we see how Tintin is about to board a big plane. I forgot to mention the planes were before were, the older ones. It was just you sitting behind the pilot. Those were the kind of planes they used. This is a regular plane, when for commercial travel. So Tintin, are you sure you don't want to come back with me to the detectives on the plane? They're like, no, we do not trust pilots. These two geniuses haven't figured out that a pilot didn't take them. It was a mechanic who didn't know how to fly. Well, Tintin and Snowy board the plane and take off. And that's it. That's the end of it. Some few parts in the beginning that that I didn't describe really fully, but yeah, that's the gist of it. So, oh yeah, let's first get to the art. Oops, sorry. This is the art style. It's quite nice. I like it. I think there was in Scott McCloud's book about comics. I think he mentioned. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't his book, but it was an art book I read where they mentioned the creator of Tintin's art. Because you know how Tintin, his face is quite simplistic and all that, but how well detailed the backgrounds are. So yeah, there we go. There's Snowy. He really wants the soul bone, and Tintin's angry at him. I'll show you the detectives. Oh, I can show you them here actually. There they are. Well, this is Thompson and Thompson. And there's Tintin, Snowy, a bunch of other characters. I don't know. Ah, here we go. This is the doctor, and this is Ivan. Firefighters. All of Tintin's adventures. Oh yeah, that's where Snowy drinks the booze. See, that's where they are. Look at him. Ah, Snowy. Here, these are the kind of planes they use. And these are our two doofus detectives. I think I can show you the more of these pages because it's not. This is already quite old. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's just see what's his name. Yeah, Ranku. Okay, I remember correctly. There's Ranku. That's the boss man. But he's about to eat Snowy. Which makes me wonder, what did he do with the men? Did they let Ranku eat them? Ew. I did not think of that. Alright, I'll just show how they'll run away. Look. You see, the Tintin's about to talk to them, then they see Ranku and they all get scared. There we go. Yeah, so lovely art. Very nice and colorful. And very clean, too, as Mr. Gray would say. Alright, now to the story. So, the story was nice. It didn't keep me completely engaged in all of the parts, but overall I enjoyed it. I do want to try to read other ones. It did take me a bit in the beginning to get into it, though. Some of the stuff aren't happening. I just didn't find this that fascinating. But I like Tintin and Snowy. Make a good team. Even the doofus detectives were quite fun to read about. I do really want to read one of the stories where the captain is in. Captain Haddock? I'm just not sure how to pronounce his surname. But yeah, I really want to read one with him in it. I want to see how he is in the comics. I only saw his depiction in the movie. Alright, so that's about it. Overall, I enjoyed this. I do want to read some more Tintin, see the other stories. And that's it. Alright, so let me know if any of you read The Adventures of Tintin. What did you think about them? Do you like the character? Have you seen the movie? I think there's also animated shorts, maybe. Or maybe there was a cartoon. I'm not sure. I really need to check how long ago Tintin came out, because I don't even know. I'll probably leave that here as well. Alright, so that is it, folks. Now remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!